Hey, everybody. Welcome to our I've Decided podcast. I'm Kim Martin, founder of I've Decided and host of your show today. So, the weekly winning word is exuberant. That's a pretty cool word, huh? I haven't heard that in a while. So, I was excited to dive into this word. So, let's talk about what the word actually means. The definition of exuberant is very energetic and showing the happiness of being alive. So essentially, you have a zest for life. You are excited to be alive. And I am so excited today. I'm exuberant over my guest today, Mr. Hayden Maubach. Hi, I'm great. How are you?
Doing good.
Good. Yeah. Well, I'm really excited because Hayden is a college athlete over at Olivet, right? Play soccer at Olivet.
Yep.
You're a junior this year?
Junior. Yep.
Yeah, junior in college and a young entrepreneur. And I would say he's exuberant in ways. And I love this because you're a Gen Z. We're going to talk a little bit about that, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes, those of us who are my age and a little older, we tend to think that these Gen Zs aren't exuberant, that they're walking around with their heads down in their phones, but it's simply not true. They may just do it in a different way. So we're going to have a great conversation, and we are going to talk about the 16 habits of exuberant human beings. So you tune in and listen and see if you have any of these habits. And if not, just like I say about all habits, you can learn them.
Absolutely.
Habits can be learned, behaviors can be learned, and you can practice them. So I'm excited, Hayden, to dive into this with you. So first things first, tell me what, when you think of the word exuberant, when I said, Hayden, you want to come on a podcast and and let's talk about this word exuberant, like, did you go, when's the last time I've heard this word?
Absolutely. It was definitely a little bit of a shock to hear that word. I haven't heard it in a long time. But when I think of somebody that's exuberant, I think of somebody that just is all around a happy person.
Right.
They strive for the best and they go the extra mile in everything that they do. That's typically what I look for when I think of the word exuberant. But
no, I think that's a perfect, that should be the definition.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll write that down and change the definition.
Yeah, there we go.
I love that. I agree. I just think it doesn't have to be some, I'm loud, right? And I'm excited and I'm very optimistic usually. Sure. That's not really what it means. It's just saying that this person is all around happy. Yeah. They're joyful. They make you feel good when you're with them.
And they don't strive for perfection. Right. You do, but it's not always going to be perfect. You have to realize that failure does help you succeed and help you learn. Yeah. So I think that's another characteristic of a person is they're not afraid to fail.
Absolutely.
They're the extra step.
Taking risk. Well, you're taking risk. You may be the youngest entrepreneur I know.
Yeah, I'm trying.
No, you're doing it. You're doing it.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So back in 2015, my dad and some of his buddies were always big into kayaking. And I kind of looked at the idea of them wanting to start a store, and they always just said, I want to do this, but they weren't necessarily acting on it.
Right.
So I kind of was like, you know what, let me take the lead. And I started Dead Fish Kayaks back in 2016, 2017, kind of gave some more ideas to it. And then it started really taking form in the last year. We started a company where we sell clothing for kayaking. And taking people out on tours and all that kind of stuff.
That is so awesome. Yeah. So can people buy this product?
Yeah, you can buy the product. If you check out Dead Fish Kayaks on Instagram or on Facebook, there's a link to our website, and then it takes you right to the store.
Yeah, I need to get me a shirt. I can't believe I don't have one yet. I got to get one of those. All right. Well, I love this so far. And let's kind of dive into these 16 habits because there's 16 of them. So you guys got to stay with us so that you can see how you fall into the habits of exuberant human beings. I like that. Exuberant human beings. I love that. Well, the first one, it says they surround themselves with other happy people.
Yep.
And I would happen to agree with that. I love being around happy people.
It definitely makes life easier.
Yeah.
If you're surrounded by people that motivate you and push you and, like you said, are always happy, it just gives you an extra little pep in your step to do more good things.
Yeah. And the fact is when I think about, again, it comes back to happy people. And you might think, well, nobody can be happy all the time.
No. Yeah.
Of course not. But it's like that old saying, misery loves company.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I may be miserable, so now I want to make you miserable. Yep. It's not having that mentality. It's saying, yeah, I got some struggles going on, but I don't want to put that out there. I want to
surround yourself with happy people.
Yeah, I want to be happy, and I want to have happy people around me, right?
Exactly. Yep.
But I think happy people aren't always happy, so to speak, but they don't zap you. No. They don't like zap your energy.
No, I think a lot of times happy people, they really strive to pick you up more than anything. I think majority of the time they're not out there trying to make your life miserable, like you said. They're there to boost you up and give you an extra little push.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that's true. They smile.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yeah.
Do you feel like that? So let's talk a little bit about the Gen Z and smiling.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's starting to become a little bit of a lost art? Because I feel like we're getting so used to looking at our phones and all of that social media that unless we're like cheesing for a selfie or something,
social media,
looking at someone else and smiling. Is it just me? What do you think? What do you guys think about the whole smiling thing?
I don't know exactly. I mean, I think the majority of the time, the average Gen Z person is a little bit more closed in, but that's not everybody.
Right.
There are a good chunk of people that you just walk by, and especially in our area, the Midwest kind of area, you see people that are more friendly than maybe East Coast and West Coast, but they are always trying to smile and pick somebody up. Overall, I would say that they do it more for Instagram and Snapchat and all those kind of social medias, but I think that it is kind of a lost art, but people still are doing it, and it's still helping, boost happiness.
I think if you just take the initiative to smile, if I smile at you, Hayden, you're going to smile back. I mean, if it's pretty, it's rare that you smile at someone and they don't smile back. Yep. So I think maybe we should just take that initiative, right? So just we got to keep taking the initiative. When we see someone, smile at them, no matter what, no matter how we're feeling. Because I think when you smile, it makes you feel kind of warm and fuzzy anyway. So if you're feeling bad, it's helpful. I mean, obviously this article, it talks a lot about being happy, but again, it says they try to be happy. So I think that it just comes back to trying to have the right attitude and trying to put out that right attitude.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think, like you said, not everybody can be happy every single day, but sometimes just putting on that smile and going out into the world, it somehow just boost your spirit a little bit.
Yeah. I think though, the good thing about Gen Zs and what you guys are getting right is that being happy is important to you. Yeah. I think you guys really truly care about doing things that make you happy. You're not just, back in the day, it's like, go to school, go to college, get the job, stay there forever, retire. Yep. But that doesn't make everybody, that's just not the way it should be. Everybody's different.
No. Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that we've seen probably with my generation, especially, is more awareness for mental health.
Yes.
And happiness around that, and making sure that your, I guess, close-knit group or maybe even bigger knit group of people that you hang out with aren't tearing you down, but they're actually building you up. We've definitely been more of a generation that's kind of focused on that.
And I think that's so good because we have to. We're going to talk a little bit about it, but in this, I always say in this day and age, like this is a bad thing.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is, if we look at history, and I know you're good at all this history stuff, but if we look at history, there's always bad. And there's been way worse than what we have now. But it's the day of information.
Yep.
And so in this age of information where we have all the information, when you and I were talking before we started this podcast.
Yep.
And it was like, okay, if the pandemic would have happened 30 years ago, if, wars that happened 30 years ago, we wouldn't know as much as we know today because we wouldn't have it in our face every day.
No, that's definitely a big thing. Like she said, the news and just being pushed on social media, especially, we get that a lot more than the average person does. I mean, like you said, Gen Z is normally on their phones, kind of walking around. So we see all that stuff pretty much 24/7 when we're on Instagram or whatever the social media platform is. So it's definitely a big culture shock when it comes to.
Do you
looking
think
at those
it plays a
generations.
role in the mental health, Hayden, being able to see all of that information? Do you think we're really wired as human beings to have that much information? I don't know. I mean, it's good to a certain degree, but then on certain things, when it's bad, it's amplified because we have all of it.
Sure. And I think it goes back to the whole word exuberant, right? When we have so much information, they always say information is power, but not always the case in this. I don't think, at least. When you have so much negative information, you're not going to be exuberant because you're surrounding yourself with negativity.
Right.
But if you surround yourself with positive stuff, maybe daily affirmations, spiritual quotes, or just happy friends and people.
Great podcasts like this one.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely think it affects mental health. I mean, some people maybe handle it better than others.
Yeah.
But overall, I definitely think it impacts people.
I do too. I think we got to be careful that we understand when we're getting all that negative news coming in, we have to move away from it and take a break and recognize that it's not meant for us to have that much negative news coming in. We need to know what's going on in the world.
Exactly.
Not saying that. But
we need to stay informed. Yes. But we can't be drowned.
It says one of the 16 habits is being mindful of good.
Yeah.
And you were talking about that Gen Zs are very mindful of good. And I would agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, specifically in my generation, I see a lot of people on social media post things for, per se, somebody died and there was a GoFundMe. A lot of times you'll see people share those GoFundMes, or for different humane disasters, they'll share these GoFundMes to help raise money for people. We also see a lot of stuff surrounding mental health, like I said, and that is a big thing. But yeah, I would definitely agree that they typically try and go out there and help people, but it's just different forms than what I guess other generations are used to.
Yeah, I agree. And this kind of ties into that. They devote some of their time to giving, which is exactly what you were saying, given to those GoFundMe pages, or even, look at what's happening right now with all the donations and the love going out towards the Ukrainian people.
Yeah.
And all of this is political, and I don't pretend to know anything about political. This is not a political podcast by no means. So there's this and that. It doesn't matter. It's innocent people. It's the people like you and me who are innocent, who have nothing to do with the political affairs, that are just happen to be living in a particular country or whereabouts, that are losing their lives for what they probably don't even really understand why. And that's the thing. It's like, I don't know about the political stuff. All I know is it's sad when innocent people are losing their lives like that.
I mean, we can all probably agree it's like you said, sad and kind of unhumane. But overall, I going back to the giving, we see a lot of people posting on social media about GoFundMe's, help this, to donate this, to give it to Ukraine.
Yeah.
So that
for medical attention and all those
Gen
things.
Z is definitely taking a big stance on that.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Okay. This one's good. They let themselves lose track of time. Yeah. And I have 2 Gen Z daughters, as you know, and I can attest to this because, and I think we all do this. I'll scroll through Facebook. That's me losing track of time. But like, Kinsley, look, this is so crazy. I'm like, what are you watching? And she's like, she loves watching car detailing videos. Okay, Is that crazy?
Yeah.
But for her, it's relaxing. And it helps take her mind off of all the bad stuff.
Absolutely.
And she just watches. I'm like, you're watching them vacuum the car. She's like, it's so cool.
Yeah.
And Katie likes watching the nail videos.
Sure. Yeah.
And so that's, something you can do. The TikTok videos.
Absolutely. I can't tell you how many people that I know personally spend hours looking at TikTok or Facebook or Instagram, and they definitely lose track of their time. They're like, oh, I have a paper that's due tonight. And then they end up having to spend 2 hours at like 12 o'clock at night to type their paper.
Yeah. So we don't want to lose that much time.
No, right? you want to stay focused. But
it is okay to lose yourself a little bit. It's okay to just kind of, what I like to call, take a veggie day or veg out a little bit, just chill, because again, in this age of information, and in every age there's bad.
Yep.
And we're in the age of information, so we're just getting a lot of the bad.
Yeah.
We wouldn't see this. Again, I just keep coming back to 30 years ago, we would not be seeing all this information.
Yeah.
And I do think that I shouldn't throw all media under the bus, but I do think media takes advantage of that because it's what draws us in.
Yeah.
When fear takes over, we lose our exuberance because now we're afraid, and then we're sucked in to watch to see what's going to happen next.
Yep. And then, like you said, you can't really enjoy your own time. Sometimes taking that time for yourself, it is needed. It's like a mental health day. We see that a lot in our generation, especially with schools. They take a lot of mental health days now, colleges especially. But yeah, I
even
think
companies are starting to provide that for their employees to just say, hey, I need a day off because I'm struggling with this or whatever. And they're totally cool with that.
Yeah. Sometimes losing yourself and taking some time off actually helps you find yourself even deeper, helps you understand, maybe I did need this time to not watch the news or not focus on this bad stuff. And I can just take time and enjoy a movie or spend time with your kids or go out, walk your dog or whatever.
Put a puzzle together.
Exactly. Something that just kind of resets your brain and rewires you for the next task.
I love it. That's awesome. Okay. I'm going to need my glasses, Hayden.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I don't like these things, you guys. They nix the small talk for deeper conversation.
Yeah. Okay.
So now listen, I always love hanging out with you. Yeah. I know Hayden, kind of grew up with him. My kids, they went to the same school, and his family and our family is really close. I always tell your mom all the time, I'm like, I love conversing with Hayden, which is one of the reasons why I wanted you to come on this podcast, because you're deep. You go in, we have some deep conversations.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. Sometimes it's kind of like, how did we even get there? We just kind of went down the rabbit hole, but yeah, we do.
I love that though. Yeah. And I think that, I think that's really cool. And I think that when you're an exuberant person, you do want to have meaningful conversations because 100%. You care about people and you really care, like you've given me ideas for the podcast and shared your thoughts with that. There's no real benefit to you for doing that. You just care that you want to see us be successful. And so it's awesome.
It ties into the whole giving thing. Yeah. It's giving of your time. Like I said, I think we live in a world where it's all instant gratification.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you can go and search anything and get an answer in a few seconds, or send something to somebody and get a response in a few seconds. Right. So when we are able to cut the short talk and actually have a deep, meaningful conversation, a one-on-one connection with somebody, it makes it a lot more meaningful to life.
Yeah. Yeah. And it makes you it gives you that zest, that exuberance for life. Okay. So, and they spend money on other people. Yeah. Again, giving, you know, just wanting to, and I see that with Katie and her boyfriend. They're always buying each other gifts. You know, it's like, it's sweet, but I think that's just a part of what Gen Zs love, that gift giving. Yep. And I think that we all do, really. I like gifts.
Yeah, who doesn't? Like a new shirt or something,
Right. Yeah. So, are any of these relating to you guys as you listen to some of these characteristics or habits or behaviors that exuberant people have? I'm sure they are, but maybe you didn't even think you were an exuberant person. But when you're listening to this, you're like, hey, maybe I'm more exuberant than I thought.
Exactly.
Right. Let's see. What else? Listening. They make a point to listen.
Yeah. I think like us doing it right now. I mean, we're taking time to hear what the other person has to say, and we're not discounting it. We're actually listening and finding value in a conversation. And I think that's one thing that Gen Z maybe lacks a little bit at times, since we are so connected to our phones, but there are still a lot of people that do that. And I think that's something that we need to incorporate more into our culture.
I've heard it said, listen to learn.
Yep.
Right. So don't listen so that you can argue back or make your point, but just listen to learn and understand.
Yeah.
To learn and understand. That's one that I can work on. Yeah. I'm kind of, I get excited. And so I'll jump into a conversation before the person is done talking.
Okay.
And I don't mean to. Yeah. It's not like I'm trying to over talk them, but I'll get excited and then I'm like, oh gosh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, let's backtrack. Yeah.
So I am working. That's one of my Lenten journey things that I'm working on, is trying to listen.
Yep.
And just when someone's talking, just listen.
Yeah.
And it's hard. Like if you're a talker and you get excited. It's hard.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is.
So I'm working on that one. They uphold in-person connections. Well, now this one's tricky because with the whole COVID thing, we're all online, we're doing the Zoom, but in person, I don't think I think there has to be. I love what we call hybrid, and that's what we do in our I've Decided community. We offer it in person as well as virtual. That way we can reach people across the world. But we still uphold that in-person connection too, because oh my goodness, there's nothing that can replace that, right?
There's nothing that can replace that. I mean, as a college student myself, I couldn't tell you how stressful it was having all my classes online and not having that in-person contact with teachers or with students. It just doesn't make it as enjoyable.
Right.
It's just kind of boring.
Yeah.
And, as an exuberant person, it drains you a little bit. So you kind of need to be out with people and experience those connections so it help boost you.
Yeah, absolutely. You you can have a little of it, but not all of it.
No.
I think a little of it is awesome. I mean, I love the fact that, we can hop on a Zoom and I can be with my success partners that are in Florida or Texas or Colorado, and that's awesome. But coming together is very important.
Yeah, there's definitely a convenience to it, but
yeah. Now I'm not sure what this is, but it says they value a good mixtape.
Yeah.
What the heck? So it's music apparently, because it says music is powerful.
Yeah, I think it's more of like a Spotify kind of playlist kind of a thing.
Like just different kinds of music.
That's maybe more of a modernized term. A mixtape would be like, you put like stuff on a CD kind of a thing.
Okay.
But yeah, especially with my generation, I would say a lot of people tune into Spotify, whether it's podcasts like this one, which is a great one to go check out.
Thank you.
But also we listen to a lot of different music. So they have different playlists for how they feel. There's happy songs, there's sad songs, there's, maybe rap songs to get you in the mood to go to the gym or whatever it is. So I think a good mixtape can help boost a person's, exuberance all around.
Music, I think, is wonderful.
Yeah.
I think art, music, those kinds of things can really, truly change your mood.
Yeah.
And so, if you're feeling bluesy, don't listen to bluesy music.
No.
No. You need upbeat, you need upbeat music.
Yeah,
don't. I mean, a good love song every now and then is good for the soul, but not when you're not, when you're feeling sad or bluesy. It's not the best time to listen to it. But a good upbeat, fun, like, I don't know, I think of like Miranda Lambert. Well, I dug my key into
a little pick me up.
A little every now and then when you're feeling I'm gonna kill them, and you're like, I dug my key into, you know. So that kind of song makes you feel better.
I think like you said, a good mixtape expresses how you feel at the time. So listening to, when you are sad, maybe listening to a happy song helps boost you up. It fills you with happiness. It surrounds you with happiness. Makes you more exuberant.
Absolutely. I just thought that was funny. A good mixtape. I looked over this and a little puppy. It's got a little puppy in the picture. It says they look on the bright side. Yeah. But I just think that's pretty typical. General happy people look on the bright side.
Yeah, they definitely try to.
I feel like, I don't know if optimism is a personality trait that you're maybe born with, or is it a learned trait? So when you, because like I would definitely say I'm more of a half full girl than a glass half empty.
Sure.
So I typically always think this is going to get better. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And I struggle with that with my daughters, because sometimes they want to talk to me and they don't feel okay. And I'm like, it's going to be fine. You're going to be fine. And they're like, it's not fine.
Yeah.
We've had a conversation this week because sadly, which I'm sure you know about this because you're a soccer player, but it just broke my heart. The young girl, the goalie from Stanford, that they found out committed suicide. And I mean, my heart was I cried, and my heart goes out to her family. My heart goes out to her. I text my daughters. I'm like, please do not carry pain. I mean, and the thing that was so sad is, they said they didn't know. They had no idea. Not one single red flag. Yeah. She was bubbly, outgoing.
She was a national champion. She was pretty much the top of her field in women's soccer all around. So yeah, it was kind of a shock to the world.
So, again, coming back to that mental health and looking on the bright side and being optimistic. It's okay. You don't have to fake it.
No.
Like if you are feeling, because I feel like I just feel like I need to say that the whole exuberant thing is like, okay, well, I'm not being a good human being if I'm not exuberant,
Sure.
happy, sunshiny, smiley all the time. And I don't want to give that message.
Yeah.
I want to give the message that we can practice the behavior of being a more exuberant person.
Sure.
But it doesn't mean that we have to feel that way all the time. And if we don't feel that way, it's perfectly okay to say, I don't feel it. I'm not feeling it.
It's perfectly okay to ask for help.
Yes.
I mean, like I said, our generation especially, we've been more focused on mental health. I mean, maybe, I don't know, back in your kind of time, it wasn't maybe as talked about as
way
much.
back in the day, you guys.
No. I don't mean that.
I know exactly what you mean.
But yeah.
But it's true. And no, it wasn't. It wasn't at all. In fact, I think it was a form of weakness even back in the day. And it's I kind of come from that fake it till you make it kind of mentality. And there's something to be said about that in some situations, but not when you're really hurting. Not when you're really hurting.
Yeah,
like it's one thing to wake up and be in a little bit bad mood today. I mean, I wake up, right? And I come to curves and I got to put on a smiley face. And even if I'm kind of not feeling it, like I'm just in it. I'm not depressed. I'm not upset. I'm just not
having a good day.
Not feeling like I'm exuberant today. Then I need to fake it till I make it.
Sure.
That's different. Practice exuberance. But if you're really struggling, I just want to definitely point that out.
Yep.
They unplug, which is kind of the same thing as putting on the mixtape. Some of these kind of filter over into each other, but it makes sense. Again, it comes back to like watching those crazy videos on, like my daughter watching the video with the car cleaning stuff.
The detailing.
The detailing is that funny. So she's unplugging though. That's how she does it.
Yeah. And sometimes unplug does mean put your phone down.
Mm-hmm.
Like we said, take a mental health day. Take some time.
Well, you like kayaking.
Exactly. Take some time, get outside, enjoy the weather. I mean, we are switching into those seasons and all that kind of stuff. So enjoy outside. Enjoy your atmosphere. Enjoy other people, communication, surround yourself with happiness. I mean, sure, you can unplug by watching maybe some relaxing videos, watching a good movie, but take some time for yourself too.
Yeah. Or like you're artsy, you love drawing art. Do you do art to help you unplug or have you...
Definitely something that kind of relaxes me. I don't do it as much anymore, but I use it as a good, like,
just kind of chill.
Tool. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay. All right. Well, this is good. They get spiritual.
Yep.
And I think that, obviously you and I are both Catholic Christians.
Yep.
And it's Lent right now. It might not be Lent if you're listening 6 months from now, maybe it's not Lent anymore. But right now, while we're recording this podcast, we're in the middle of 2022 Lenten season.
Yeah.
And, I love Lent because it does get you in a more spiritual place when you maybe fast from something or make a decision to do something.
Yeah. Getting spiritual, especially in my generation, it's something I feel like is lacking. So being able to feel like you're a part of something, it definitely helps you become more exuberant. It makes you fill up with happiness.
And like you go to a Christian college.
I do. Yeah, I do. But getting spiritual it's not something to be ashamed of. It's not something to be, hiding the fact that you are. It's something you should embrace.
Right.
It's like you said, surrounding yourself with happy people.
Yeah.
It boosts your mood.
And, people that are on the same page as you. This year I created a little Facebook group called I Decided to Have a Meaningful Lent.
Yeah.
And I think there's like 30 people on there. It's not a big deal, but it's 30 of my friends and family who have the same beliefs as I do. Or that's interested maybe.
Sure.
And we have a Bible verse we read every day, and we're just encouraging each other and sharing our journey.
Yeah.
And it's that kind of stuff. You can do something just that small, just to have that accountability, I guess.
Yeah. And like you said, giving up something. I mean, I know I gave up caffeine. So soda is off the table.
You gave up soda?
I did.
Wow.
It is one of the toughest things I've ever done.
I gave up wine.
Oh.
All forms of alcohol, actually.
Sure. Yeah. But caffeine withdrawal is a real thing. So I don't know. It's like the whole thing, getting unplugged. Sometimes it helps you reset.
But it
Sometimes
does,
helps
because then
give
you can, when you're craving it, you can offer it up to God.
Exactly.
And you can pray about it.
Yep.
And then you feel closer.
Yeah.
I always say, God never moves. God's always there. We're the ones who move away from him.
Yep.
So I think in a season like this, we can move closer
Absolutely.
to him. I think we got a few more here. They make exercise a priority.
Yeah. That's
for
a big
sure.
one. Yeah.
And you obviously you're an athlete, so you're working out all the time.
Yeah. I mean, I pretty much work out every day. But the biggest thing is, as an athlete, I mean, exercise is like my bread and butter. It's something that I kind of have to do to feel good for myself, to make my body feel good, but also to keep me physically fit and on top of everything that I need to get done. And it helps me be exuberant. I mean, surrounding myself with a lot of the guys on the team, it's not always sunshine and roses, but it is a brotherhood that you form with these guys.
Absolutely.
And you surround yourself with happiness and guys that are going to push you and motivate you to get that extra step done. So working out, whether you're going to the gym by yourself, maybe go get a gym partner.
Yeah,
have somebody that can help motivate you.
Buddy.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think that's so important, but I definitely think that exercise is, it's proven, you guys, science proves the benefits of exercise, and exercise produces endorphins.
Yeah.
We know this, and those are good endorphins that make you happy.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be exuberant, exercise is key. I think it would be very difficult to be really, truly exuberant if you didn't take care of your health.
Absolutely.
I think that's a missing link, and it can hold you back.
Yeah.
Because no matter what's happening in life, if you're taking care of yourself, it kind of just makes you feel good. You're doing what you need to do.
Especially in our new world. I mean, we are just kind of getting out of a pandemic. I don't know. You can decide that for yourselves. But
Right.
We are in a world where health is a big issue.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen a lot of people with some poor health that have had different reactions, and it's not always the best thing. So taking care of your body is a huge thing to help make you feel more like yourself and help, all your loved ones around you too.
Yep. So this is funny. The next two is they go outside, and then the next one is they spend some time on the pillow.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we're coming down to the balance.
Yeah.
Go outside, but spend time on the pillow. Get rest, but also exercise and go outside.
I think that might be one of the best definitions for exuberant. Balance.
Yeah.
It's not always going to be perfect. It's not always going to be bad, but it's just finding that middle room and living your life how you want to live. Going outside definitely improves your mood, getting some, vitamin D in your system.
Yeah.
Getting some fresh air, especially if you've been inside all day. If you've been working all day, getting out on the water and kayaking, that's a great time. But also, especially in my generation, I know I am guilty of this, but I take naps.
Yeah.
I enjoy my nap as a college student. Yeah. So
well, you guys stay up so late.
That is true.
So you got to catch a nap.
Yeah. But yeah, getting some time on the pillow, it definitely helps reset you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So get outside, exercise, but get some time on the pillow too.
Yeah.
I love this. It says they LOL. They laugh out loud.
Yeah.
So you got to laugh.
Yeah.
I think if, one of the things that I do, if I'm feeling a little bluesy or just kind of irritable, those little baby scrolls videos. I love watching the baby videos where they're like, say funny things, like the toddlers.
Sure.
It's not babies necessarily,
just
but
those belly laughs.
The toddlers, they'll say funny stuff.
Oh
and
my
it's
gosh.
like, they catch them on video saying the funniest things. And you're just laughing out loud. Like I was watching this one the other day, and she must have been maybe like, she couldn't have been 2. She was baby talking, like really baby talking.
Yeah.
So she was maybe like 15 months old, something like that.
Yeah.
And she was putting herself in her car seat, and her dad was videoing her. He was like, "Do you need some help with that?" And she goes, "No." And then she's like, "No, thank you." She recognized.
Yeah.
And then she keeps going. He goes, "Well, what do you want me to do?" And she goes, "You drive." And she goes back. I laugh so hard.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's the kind of stuff you got to make yourself laugh.
Absolutely.
I do think that we might be losing the art of laughing a little bit. Sometimes we get too serious, and it's like, okay, it is good to just laugh, just laugh.
Yeah, enjoying some time with people and just having good conversation and cracking some jokes. It's a great way to reset your soul. It's a great way to feel good about yourself. Sometimes making fun of yourself a little bit. It's not a bad thing,
Take
you
it
know,
lightly.
but
Take yourself
take it lightly. Don't always
Yes.
make it so hardcore. It's big.
Yep. All right. Last but not least, and I do think this is important, is they walk the walk.
Yeah.
What does that mean to you?
It's not being perfect, but it's getting up every single day, knowing what you have to get done and accomplishing it. And like I said, it might not be the perfect of times. It might not be the happiest of times, but you walk the walk, you live how you want to live, and you express how you want to feel. If you're spiritual, you go to church, you show up, you experience that community. That is a big thing. Getting exercise, doing all the things that you know is going to better yourself is walking the walk, living the life how you want to live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And doing it. And, it's easier said than done.
It is.
Which brings me to our I've Decided community and why we exist.
Exactly.
Because it's hard to walk the walk. We know what we should do. You know what you should do. We all know what we should do. But it is very difficult to walk that walk alone. And that's why being a part of a community like I've Decided will help you walk that walk, achieve the goals and dreams that you want to achieve, and provide you all the pieces of the puzzle for success. The accountability, support, motivation, inspiration, all the pieces of the puzzle that you need to get busy on the dreams and goals that you have in your life.
Exactly.
Hayden, I've had a great conversation with you. I feel like we could talk all day, but
I'm sure
I don't know that they'll keep listening forever.
I don't know, maybe, but
I mean, hey, we're pretty good, but I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. So again, it comes back to exuberant. How exuberant do you feel? And hopefully, after hearing some of these habits, you have a lot of them in your life, and you recognize many of them. And maybe if you've walked away, if you've just forgotten some of them or haven't done some of them in a while, you can get back to it and just get your zest back. And I love. I have several quotes here. But I think the one that I love the most is nothing ever succeeds which exuberant spirits. Let me start that all over again. Nothing ever succeeds which exuberant spirits have not helped to produce. So if you are going to live a life of success, and that's what we want, that's what we want to do, you have to have exuberance. You have to practice this behavior of exuberance. And again, some people might be saying, I'm not an exuberant person. That's silly. That's ridiculous. I'm not that excited about life. You know those people, right?
Sure.
Maybe you're listening, you're one of those people. You know what? It's like saying I'm not a morning person.
Yep.
How do you become a morning person?
Practice.
You start waking up in the morning, and in time you'll become a morning person. So start practicing these 16 behaviors, and next thing you know, you'll be exuberant too. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. Thanks again, Hayden.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you soon.